You just gotta love a track with nicknames. Thunder Valley, the last great Coliseum, Darrell Waltrip and our Dub might actually refer to the place as My House. Or you could just stick to plain old Bristol, but trust me, there is nothing plain about this night. Tonight is the 40-car Jetfighters in a Gymnasium live show from Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll get to the Food City 250 in no time, but first a little business down on the grid. Let's go trackside and enjoy the pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats. Veterans render a hand salute as the Cherokee High School Navy Junior ROTC presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Mike Wright from the Van Zandt Church of Christ in Van Zandt, Virginia, offers tonight's invocation. Mike.
Dear God, we thank you for our host and our sponsor this evening, and we pray that you will continue to bless Bristol Motor Speedway and Food City. We also thank you for all the men and women who are serving this country here in America and throughout the world. We ask that you will protect the drivers this evening, their teams, and their families. And we pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
In support of our troops, please place your right hand over your heart and welcome country music artist Jamie O'Neill as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, yeah, and the home of the brave.
Hey, R-Dub, how much do you love this place?
Man, I really love this place. You know what? I can feel excitement in there. What about you guys?
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. Back-to-back road course races, and then Bristol, I smell a huge shakeup in the points tonight.
120-mile-an-hour traffic jam.
Let's get it on.
Sounds good. And you know what sounds good next? How about we fire those engines? That is when we come back. 250 laps under the lights of Bristol coming your way in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. A few final thoughts as we wrap things up in the Quicken Loans pit studio. What do you got, Rusty?
Well, will the tempers from last week's road race carry over? I bet they do.
Probably.
They're going to carry over, but we're going to get the Bristol stripe tonight. Who can get up on the high line and make that thing work? And you're going to rub that right rear quarter panel all night long.
3 lanes in the corner, 2 lanes on the straightaway, inside wall, outside wall, put gas in the wreckers.
So we got 4 wide here. 3 wide doesn't work on the racetrack. But we do have 3 wide in the booth, and that is where we will find Marty Reed, Andy Petrie, and Dale Jarrett.
I like the gas in the record. It's a good one, Ray. Hello again, everybody. Glad you're spending part of your evening with us. The 3rd week in a row that the championship is now 18 points. But it has not been a good day at the office for the top 2 in points. And we're talking about Sam Hornish Jr. and Elliott Sadler. Andy, let's talk about Sam first.
Yeah, Sam Hornish and his team taking the point lead back over, and they're fast enough to win this championship, but they're going to have to eliminate mistakes. They made a couple of them today, and it's got Sam starting back in the 13th spot, and that's not where they need to be starting a race where points are on the line like they are tonight.
Yeah, and second in the points is Elliott Sadler. And as a driver, when you come inside this racetrack, you're excited about your opportunities. Elliott Sadler wasn't too excited with his race car. Couldn't really figure it out, put Kyle Busch in it, went back out, made some more changes. Elliott was watching to see if there's something that he could learn there, got into the wall in practice, and then a subpar qualifying effort put him back in his worst starting spot of the year in 25th. So a lot to be made up there. This team has overcome and dealt with adversity this year and made some good finishes. This driver and team will have to dig deep and do that again tonight.
One of the other things we have to zero in on is pit road, because there's two different configurations based on yellow and green flag stops, Andy.
Yeah, this is a unique racetrack because it has 2 pit roads, but it acts like one under caution. All the cars will enter off of turn 2, come all the way around the apron, no matter where they're pitting, and they'll exit out of turn 1. Now, if they're under green, that's where it changes it up a little bit, because they can come in just on their pit road and exit on that same side. So it's one thing that the drivers have to keep in mind. It's different whether it's green or yellow.
Yeah, you have to keep that in mind as a driver. The other thing is long pit road, slow speed. Do not get caught speeding, because as we've talked about, track position is going to be extremely important. Don't put yourself in a deficit like that.
The biggest thing to remember, it's 30 miles an hour on pit road. Let's take a look at the all-time win list in NASCAR competition. And of course, the king, Richard Petty, with that mark that I don't know if anybody's ever going to get to it, 200. But the reason we're showing them this, because as we go trackside, guess who's going to give the command? You got it. There he is.
I want to hear you say it on the count of 3. We're going to say Bristol, baby. Bristol, baby!
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, the man that needs no introduction, the King, Richard Petty.
Drivers, start your engines.
We're going to have to get probably loud in our box, right? When they apologize that they made a mistake.
It's always great when you got the king, and here we are at Bristol. All right, our in-race reporter tonight is a man who surprised everybody and almost won the race here back in March. We're talking about the driver of the number 32. That is Kyle Larson. And the 21-year-old almost did it. There he is, side by side, just missing the win against Kyle Busch. We'll talk to him when we come back. Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway, where we're getting ready for race number 22 on the 2013 schedule, as the cars are just about ready to start pulling out of pit road. There they are out on the track. And let's take a look at Kyle Larson's numbers. A little bit of a mixed bag for the young 21-year-old. His first 8 races, you see the average finish. The next 8 were really stellar. But the last 6, he's fallen off a little bit. Some of it not his fault. If you remember last week at Mid-Ohio, he literally got punted on the first lap by his teammate. He's our in-race reporter. Let's dial him up, DJ.
Hey, Kyle, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You ready to go racing there, young man?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, Kyle, our first question is a mailbag question. Comes from Casey in East Springfield, Ohio. He asks, you almost beat Kyle Busch last time. Do you think you can get to the front earlier and get past him tonight?
Yeah, you know, we're starting a lot further forward. So if I can just maintain the track position, I think we should have a pretty good finish. Just got to stay patient. You know, it's a really tough race. So, you know, if I can get my first nationwide win here, that'd be great.
Hey, Kyle, we saw you here back in the spring using that high line to your advantage. Looks like that's the preferred line tonight. What do you got up your sleeve to make these passes?
Well, I think, you know, I can relay back to my dirt background a little bit. If you can get to somebody's, if you can roll the center and get to their inside down the straightaway, I think you can throw a little slide job into the next corner and beat them to the center. So I think it's going to be a pretty fun race, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good luck. Thanks for talking with us, Kyle. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Trent Owens.
Hey, Trent Owens, Andy Petrie upstairs. You got us?
I got you.
Hey, Trent, you've helped a handful of drivers get their first win. And what is it going to take tonight to put Kyle Larson in the same position possibly that he was earlier this year and have a shot at this thing tonight?
The first thing is we qualified well, so that's working for us. And if we could just maintain our track position, you know, stay on the right strategies. The tires, you could go a lot of laps on the tires, so if we can just get on the right fuel strategies, be inside the top 5, you know, with 50 to go, I think Kyle can do his job and get the job done. We're looking forward to a good race tonight.
Well, it sounds like we're looking at minimum pit stops tonight, and hope you got the right strategy. Thanks for talking to us, Trent.
All right, thank you, guys.
Let's take a look at our onboard cameras for tonight's race. Austin Dillon with the Admiral Care onboard will be the first of several. Casey Kane has our Sunoco onboard camera. Regan Smith with the Chevy onboard. Elliott Sadler with the Nationwide Insurance camera. Sam Hornish Jr. with the Goodyear onboard. Brad Keselowski, the Ford EcoBoost onboard. We already know Kyle Larson's got one, the Nationwide Insurance camera. And Kyle Busch, our pole sitter, he selected driver's right, the outside, the Toyota onboard. Let's get the latest from pit road. Jamie Little, you're up.
Well, Kyle Busch is now the winningest NASCAR driver in the 52-year history of Bristol Motor Speedway. He won the Truck Series race on Wednesday night, his 14th victory among 3 different series at this track. Crew Chief Adam Stevens is confident they can get it done tonight. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Sam Hornish leads the Nationwide Series standings by a slim 13 points over Elliott Sadler. One of the reasons is he scored more points on a short track this year than anyone else. Tonight, Sam says, I got to be aggressive, but I got to be very smart. A championship may depend on it. Marty?
All right, we're getting ready to go green. Lights are out on the pace car. As we mentioned, Kyle Busch is taken. Driver's right. There he is in the 54, right alongside Ryan Scott. Down the front straightaway, the Food City 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway is green. Kyle Busch said that high line was good for 3/10. He's proven it, guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We saw it in the truck race. Now we got some cars sliding around up in 1 and 2 already, like Brendan Gaughan and Mike Bliss got together.
Yeah, the 19 of Bliss rubbed the wall. We're still green.
See, 3 wide now going into turn 1. For a moment there, Kyle Larson was 3 wide as they entered that corner.
Yeah, Regan Smith did pretty hard.
The 6. There you see right there, Trevor Bayne, he got loose. It's going to cost him at least 1 spot because there comes Regan Smith underneath. Austin Dillon in the 3 on the high side.
I was watching Regan Smith. This car looked good on the bottom, like the one car that might be able to make a pass down there, but this upper lane is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, what you need is a hole to slide into. You can stay there, and you might beat somebody in that corner, but trying to keep them there for an extended period of time or keep yourself there is not going to work out. Oh, Kyle Larson.
Whoa, he got high. Did he scrape the wall? He's losing several spots.
He just jumped over that cushion, so to speak, just outside of that groove. And it's really slick up there.
He was running 7th, but he has dropped back to 11th.
And that was the groove that he used in the first race. He was way, way up there, but the track is just not rubbered in yet. We see Brian Scott's also out of the groove and into the wall in 3 and 4.
Yeah, he did that in qualifying on his 2nd lap, Brian Scott did, but wasn't enough damage to hurt anything.
Let's go back and show you what happened to the 32.
Yeah, they're running such fast speeds around here, and they're right on that edge of where there's grip and where there's not. And as soon as you get a little bit outside there, you can see what happens. You did a good job keeping it out of the wall.
Now, later in the race, that's going to be the place to be. You got to be all the way, all but touching that wall. It's just not quite ready yet.
Larson coming up on the 18 of Drew Herring. That is a battle for 9th.
Here, Larson was excited. He did it. He qualified 12th here back in the spring, drove himself up with almost a chance to win, came within a half a car length of winning the race. To starting 5th, he thought that he was really in good shape here, but he's worked his way back to 10th by sliding around some, so got his work cut out again.
Let's go back and show you what happened to Brian Scott. He has slid back from his 2nd starting spot to 6th.
Yeah, this is on the other end of the racetrack in 3 and 4. You can see same exact thing.
And as the guys mentioned in Countdown, it's not going to be the last time somebody's going to be rubbing that wall.
No, it's going to happen, and there's just so much grip right up there that's what you have to have as a driver. But if you cross that edge just a little bit, then you're out of control.
It is Kyle Busch, Justin Allgaier, Ty Dillon, and Austin Dillon running 3rd and 4th, and Regan Smith rounding out the top 5. If you're wondering about Elliott Sadler, who started 25th, he has picked up 3 spots. He's up to 22nd. Speaking of the Dillon brothers, the 33 of Ty, the 3 of Austin. And of course, Ty Dillon, the word is he's coming to Nationwide full-time next season. And Austin on his way to Cup.
Yeah, definitely. 2 very talented young men. You know, a lot of people out there think, well, their grandfathers give them everything. These young men have worked hard for what they've got. And yeah, they're in good equipment, but they work hard at learning these and perfecting what they do.
Kyle Larson cannot get around Drew Herring. They're both running that same line. And here comes Casey Kane.
Yeah, Casey Kane's one of the cars I've seen that can work the bottom groove, and he's making some headway toward the front.
Yeah, Drew Herring's going to get trapped behind a slower car here, the 70.
And have to cut Sam off.
Yeah, the 70 of Brad Teague really was a big roadblock there. All this action deeper in the field. There you see Sam Hornish right behind Drew Herring in that 18. Hornish trying to take over the 11th spot.
See his teammate right behind him, Brad Keselowski. We've been used to seeing these cars running nose to tail, but it's been first and second most of the time. See, Hornish looks like he's going to make that pass. Not quite.
Yeah. Team Penske has finished 1, 2, 3 of the last 5 races. They got their work cut out for him right now. Keselowski goes under, so they both clear Drew Herring. Kyle Busch has led every lap so far. He's 5 for 5 when winning from the pole this season. The laps are flying by here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We've knocked down 28 of 250. Don't forget to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch all the live race coverage from Bristol Motor Speedway. We include 10 HD live race views, live chat, and a live leaderboard. Third place is the action right now between the brothers Dillon, Ty in the 33, Austin in the 3.
I think Austin may be a little bit quicker, but younger brother's not really caring about that. He's keeping him in his rearview mirror running his line.
Vince, you got a little more on that 33 car?
Yeah, the car's just a little too free for Ty's liking right now. As you saw Austin, his older brother, go around him. Ty says it's just too free to do what he wants to do. It's very packed around the top groove. They'd like to go down and run the bottom a little bit more, so look for Ty Dillon, that 33, if he can keep a handle on it, to go down low.
I tell you, something's going to be an issue before this night's over, and it will come into play probably with some fast cars, but this lap traffic, we got part of them up on the high side, part of them down on the bottom. You just don't know where they're going.
Yeah, Austin Dillon almost ran over Mike Wallace. They were both on the low line. There's the 70 getting out of the way. That's Brad Teague. He gets up high and allows everybody through.
I think I saw some damage on the 99 car, maybe had gotten into the wall. He's on the back pit road now.
There's your race leader, the 54 of Kyle Busch, going around the 14, driven this week again by Jeff Green. And yes, Alex Bowman. Vince, he's coming your way.
Yeah, they've got a problem. Obviously, they're not quite sure what it is. He said initially it felt like the carburetor, but the car keeps shutting off. So they're going to change the box on it. Certainly not the way Alex Bowman wanted to get his night started here at Bristol. Was 14th here in March, going many laps down here, making an early stop under green.
And he was running 14th at the time of this problem. So in pit road, not where you want to be at Bristol. As the laps continue to fly by, Brad Keselowski on the high side going around the 2 of Brian Scott. So Scott going the wrong direction, started second, guys. He's back to 9th.
Yeah, I see somebody going the right direction at 22. You see him going high, low, is wherever he needs to.
Dave Burns, the 2 is in your camp. Are you hearing anything?
He was the fastest in practice earlier today, Marty, and Phil Gould, his crew chief, told me that they were trying to fix loose into the corner and tight in the middle, but it's hard to fix 2 things. Well, Brian radioed in just after he hit the wall. Now it's tight in, so they've got some work to do to get the handle back on the 2 car.
Well, he was the last one to adjust it, Brian was.
He's got Casey Kane coming up on him right now. And Andy, you as the crew chief know this track's going to change as we get deeper into the night.
Yeah, but they still, you know, they've got to keep up with these changes. They're not going to have but very few opportunities to work on it. And it's so hard to communicate here because the lap times are so quick, it's so loud, and you just get these little bits of information the crew chief does.
This battle continues. The right side of your screen is the 54 of our leader, Kyle Busch. And look who he's closing on, the 11 of Elliott Sadler, and this is the worst thing he wants to see happen.
Yeah, I thought maybe they would kind of be pulling another rabbit out of the hat like we've seen them do a number of times. But this racetrack, when you're off just a little bit and you're back in traffic, you can just see what happened. And Elliott Sadler's almost lost a full lap here as Kyle Busch is getting ready to put him a lap down.
Dave, you've got the 11. What's the latest?
And as we talked today, the driver who just passed Elliott is his teammate. He put him in the car earlier today to try to diagnose some of the issues, but they're still not fixed. Elliott has been completely silent on the radio, and DJ, you probably know as a driver, sometimes when you know it's not going to be a good night, you just sit there and you try to drive it.
Yeah, you try to drive it, and you know, sometimes if it's that bad, you can't take your hands off the wheel to say anything. So,
Andy, he's a two-time winner here. How do you fall off the wagon that far?
Well, they're just not clicking right now. I don't know if it's just confidence in each other or what it is, but that team has just been kind of sporadic in how they have got this car set up for each race. Sometimes they hit it, sometimes they miss it bad. They obviously missed it bad today.
Well, in the last 6 races, he's only finished outside the top 8 once, and that was the March race when they had all those electrical and engine issues.
Yeah, I mean, he's good here. Elliott Sadler's a really good race car driver here. The car's just not doing what he needs it to do.
Getting a little crowded right there, as you can see. The 33 alongside the 44. That is Ty Dillon. And the 44, Chad Hockenbrough.
Yeah, Ty's starting to struggle with his car. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And as you get into this lap traffic and you can't run the line that you want to run, you have to adjust, then that exposes your problems and slows you down some.
We only have 18 cars on the lead lap. You see some slow traffic down to the right side of your screen, way down low. They're getting out of the way. And the 33 of Dillon gets past the 40 of Reed Sorensen and starts to pull away. But here comes Casey Kane as well. And Brian Scott. Kyle Busch. Boy, he has 14 total wins, 5 here in the Nationwide Series. He's trying to go for 2 for 2. He won Wednesday night's truck race. Can he do it again? We'll find out. Coverage of the Little League World Series continues tomorrow on ABC with a pair of title games. First at 12:30 Eastern, Japan and Mexico in the International Championship. And then at 3:30, it's California Chula Vista facing Westport, Connecticut, home of Parker Kligerman in the U.S. Championship. The Little League World Series from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's tomorrow on ABC.
Yeah, California, Connecticut. I watched them the other night play, and they hadn't either one lost at that time. They went in extra innings before they could decide that one. Should be another great game.
I can't believe how big these kids are. 6'4" and age 12. There's Parker Kligerman in the 77. He'll be rooting for Westport. We've knocked down 59 of 250 laps, and there goes the 54 past Kligerman. Boy, do you realize we've only got 13 cars on the lead lap? The way Kyle is going, he is just ripping up the field. Now the battle for second place heating up here between the 31 of Justin Allgaier, who has the spot, and the 3 of Austin Dillon, who wants it.
Dillon was able to cut a lot of that ground down whenever 31 caught like 6 cars in a pack and just couldn't seem to get around them.
All right, manage your exit off at 2. Manage your exit. Track has definitely lost a lot of grip. Nice and easy.
Talking about all-important grip.
Well, they haven't really been on the racetrack since this morning. They had 2 laps of qualifying this afternoon, but this racetrack's had a lot of time put on it with the Cup cars with a couple of practices and then 2 sessions of qualifying. So, yeah, they're going to see a different racetrack.
Andy, we're seeing some good battles. The sad part is Kyle Busch is making a runaway of this. He's almost 6 seconds out in front of these 2.
Yeah, he has been cutting right through them, and his car is handling really well, too. He can pass them high or low and not really so much committed to just the top.
Justin Dillon working hard here trying to take that second spot away. If I can tell you about Kyle Busch, he would have some company if we can close this field back up at a caution at some point in time, because the 22 and the 32 are both cars that are capable of running with him, I believe.
Yeah, and a couple of other cars I've watched lap time wise, Casey Kane and even Ty Dillon, when he got straightened out.
You're going to get your wish. As the caution comes out, we've got debris up in turn number 2. And you had mentioned Brad Keselowski. He has moved all the way up from his starting position to 4th. And the 22 started this race 15th. who said the restarts are going to be the fun part. And if you're on the outside, you can pick up about 4 spots. So we're going to find out if he's got it glued.
I think Brad thought that he was going to have some restarts and things to make some way to the front, but he's passed his way all the way up to 4th place now.
And he did it passing on the high side and the bottom. Car really working well.
Yeah, he was our biggest mover of all the racers out there, the 40 cars.
You can see Kyle Busch decides not to make a pit stop, but almost all the leaders behind him are.
Yep, the 31 of Allgaier, the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 22 of Keselowski, and Kyle Larson. Let's send it to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Brad Kay has said the car basically a little bit tight center off 3 and 4. He said really good though off turn 2, so the car really handles well. Then just a slight adjustment. They won't make any changes. 4 tires, fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Vince.
Kyle Larson likes the car, says it feels really good up top. A little free when it goes to the bottom. No changes, just 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for the 32.
Regan Smith has also come into pit road. Let's send it to Dave.
He said on the bottom his car was tight in the middle. They want a track bar adjustment. It goes up, air out of the left rear tire. You see him on the upper left of your screen.
And Austin Dillon saying he was just a little bit free off. That was his main complaint. 4 tires stopped at 31. Justin Allgaier, we heard his radio. Lacking rear grip was his one complaint. Marty?
And the only car on the lead lap to stay out is guess who? Our race leader, Kyle Busch. Drew Herring's going to get the free pass. There's the race off pit road of those that did take the stops. Everybody taking 4 tires. The big winner, Regan Smith. Let's check the calendar while we're under our first caution, because tomorrow night it's the Irwin Tools night race here at Bristol. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern over on ABC. Spring race winner, of course, was Casey Kane. Next stop for the NASCAR Nationwide Series is down in Atlanta next Saturday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. We're getting ready to go green as pace car has pulled off. Guess what? The Owners' Championship's on the front row. The 54 Kyle Busch right alongside Brad Keselowski. Busch takes the high side again. Looking 3 wide there for a second. That's Regan Smith trying to go on the high side of the 31. Justin Allgaier trying to hang on to the position.
Yeah, he's trying his hardest, but Regan Smith's going to take that spot away. Trevor Bain thought about making it 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Austin Dillon came in 3rd, went back out 7th. They had a lug nut problem on the right front. He's trying to fight around the 6th as we speak.
Yeah, Kyle Larson looks like he really struggles on low air pressures, fresh tires. Just can't get going.
This is the best action we've got. The front 2 have sort of pulled away. Kyle Busch is ahead of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I'm impressed Kyle Busch stay out there on these tires and still be able to lead this race right now.
All right, Jamie Little, you've got the 54. You got the reason why they did not pit.
Yes, I went up on the pit box. It was Adam Stevens, crew chief. It was his call to keep Kyle out. He said, we want him to do this race on 1 stop, but we didn't think everybody else was going to pit. If I had to do it over again, I would have brought him down to pit road.
So far, though, Andy, it hasn't hurt him.
Well, you see why he made the decision. He knows that these tires hold up pretty well. Kyle's got a great car. He still felt like a lot of other cars would have stayed out with him, but they didn't. And that's why he said he'd do it different if he had to do it over again.
Yeah, they're expecting to put a lot of laps on the tires to run to the end of the race when they make that 1 pit stop that they're talking about. So they're not concerned about that right now. But when everybody came, I'm sure he had cause for concern there, but it's working out so far.
That's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all on your screen. 5th place is Trevor Bain. Larson, Dillon, Casey, all in that mix. And there's Ty Dillon, the 33, catching up to the group as well.
Looks like it's finally catching up with Austin Dillon. He tried to make that bottom work, and he finally got pinned down there, and he's forced to make it work. It looks like he's going to lose a spot or 2.
Here comes Casey on the high side.
It's got to be frustrating, Dale, when You know you got a good car. You just need to get up in that high lane so you can, but there's just no place to go.
Yeah, and it used to be the opposite way around where you were right on the bottom here and you had somebody faster. You just, unless you knocked them out of the way, you had nowhere to go. You couldn't go to that outside. So things have just kind of reversed here. But it is very frustrating. What makes Bristol, Bristol, they'll lose their tempers here before too much longer.
Here's the battle for the race lead. Now remember, just 6 races ago, the 54 car led the owner points by 51. And now the 54 trails that 22 car by 22 coming into tonight's race. Of course, the Owners' Championship, oh so important to the teams. Those pit crew guys, that's what they're fighting for because that's their moment of glory.
And certainly to, you take your crew chief that, like this 54 and the 22 that work with so many different drivers and have themselves in this position for this Owners' Championship means a lot to them. It's a full team effort there.
Checking back in on the battle with the 6. Trevor Bain still running and holding on to that 5th position.
I was looking at that group of cars that we showed there just a minute ago in our stats guide. You showed you something a while ago. I won this race 22 years ago. Until Casey Kane drove in there, none of those guys were born when I won that race. So
how'd that make you feel there, buddy?
Very old.
There is Sam Hornish.
Let it go. Copy that. Engine is missing. I can hear it. I already got it on the beam. I switched boxes already. You got fuel pressure? Inside.
Hornish running 12th. He said he switched to the B box.
Yeah, they run 2 ignition boxes, and that's the first thing you change. I've rarely seen that fix the problem. That's the first thing you go to, but because you've got 2 ignition boxes, that's one thing if you think will fix it.
Hornish 7 seconds behind the race lead in 12th place. There's only 13 cars on the lead lap right now, and this is still the best battle we have on the track. Start with 5th place, Trevor Bain.
Yeah, Kyle Larson's faster than Trevor Bain here. He doesn't want to jump down there to the inside because he knows it could cost him 2, maybe 3 spots. Being very patient right now.
See, Casey Kane takes advantage of the high side at the expense of Austin Dillon. You're asking, where is our race leader, the 54 of Kyle Busch? There he is. He's got about, a 4-car length lead over 2nd place Brad Keselowski here at Bristol. The 54 Kyle Busch has led every lap so far here at the Food City 250 at Bristol Motor Speedway. And there are only 12 cars on the lead lap. Now, while we were in commercial break, the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 5 of Casey Kane, it got a little close.
Yeah, they've been battling hard. We've seen them in a group here. And Austin Dillon saw an opportunity to go to the outside. Casey Kane, he slides up there. That kind of jams things up. Got even closer for the rest of them.
And they had a little more contact there, Andy.
That's where it kind of a bottleneck. All these other cars were catching pretty quick.
Let's listen in on the 3 radio.
See what happens when you can't make a pit stop? Stay calm. Keep driving a race car. Got a long way to go.
Little frustration there?
Yeah, been there as a driver. Yeah, you're doing your job. He was up there battling in the front for 2nd place earlier before that caution came out, and they lost, 4 spots, I believe, on the pit stop.
Yeah. Came in 3rd, went out 7th, and that's what he was
This place will
about.
test your patience now, I'll tell you.
So right now it is Kyle Busch leading by half a second over Brad Keselowski, and there is 3rd place Regan Smith, 4 seconds behind the race leader. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and start off with that 7 car. Dave?
Marty, he had a top 10.
Hold on, we got a problem. The 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. has turned it around in turn number 4, and did he get some help?
I don't know. Brad Daugherty said he wasn't going to make it to turn 4, and I think that might have been where it happened.
He was 17th, one lap down.
He ruffled a few feathers last week, so I don't know if this was any payback or not. I don't know if anybody got near him or not. I think it could just be a 1-car incident.
Well, let's go back and take a look, Andy.
Yeah, you can see right there. There's Nelson Piquet. Drives down in the corner and hangs the right rear.
Right in front of Elliott Sadler.
Whoa!
Oh!
That was close.
Goodness.
Sadler makes a nice move to keep from being collected in that one. Let's go on board with Elliott.
You see right here's a driver. Things are happening so fast. You see that happening? You can't just jerk the wheel. Boy, nice job, Elliott. Sadler could have made what is already a frustrating night even worse, but was able to survive that.
Sadler is shown in 17th position, 1 lap down, and this time
now they're going to make a pit stop because they can conceivably make it on fuel to the end from here.
And I think that might be what some of them gets, just fuel.
I think Kyle Busch might get tired.
Let's send it to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And guys, they can make it on fuel from here, and the call here is to put 4 tires on 22 because they believe that the 54 is going to also put 4 tires on. No other changes. Vince.
The 6 of Trevor Bayne, they were not happy with their car here in March. They feel like it's much better this time around. A 2-tire stop for Trevor Bayne in the 6, a little too tight. Dave?
Regan Smith pulls in. You see him on the right side of the screen, the 7 car. He'll get Sunoco fuel. He's at the top of your screen left now. 4 tires. Same adjustments for the car that's still difficult to turn. Jamie?
And Justin Allgaier saying we are much better on entry and exit this time around. He liked what they did last time. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch making his first stop of the night. Very calm on the radio. Sunoco fuel will go in. They'll fill him up. 4 tires here. He said he's a bit snug and a bit free, but not bad. Car is good.
The race off pit road, the 2 tires, we'll see if it pays off. Trevor Bayne picks up 5 spots. Kyle Busch, for the first time, is not going to be out front. We'll reset it when we come back. Kyle Larson, the 32, the only lead lap car to stay out. He is our race leader. Trevor Bayne right alongside of him in the number 6. Whoa, the 6 gets a little loose, opens the door. We're going to go 3 wide.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne, he got extremely loose.
And look at Kyle on the high side with 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, that 22, he's got 4 fresh tires. I think right now they've put themselves in position to battle for the win.
So Regan Smith going under the 2 of Brian Scott. That's also for position. I think Trevor Bayne might be rethinking that 2-tire stop, Andy.
Well, he got left side tires, and I think, yeah, at this point, he probably is kind of rethinking that. Because if he would have gotten 4 tires, he wouldn't have been too far back in this lineup.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. You've got the air pressure down on those left side tires. It should free the car up most of the time at the beginning. So if he can hang on a little bit, it may work out for Trevor Bayne to keep this track position.
Got a good run off the corner that time.
See Justin Allgaier, he's pinned down on the bottom. Let's check in with Vince Welch. He's got that 6 car. What are you hearing, Vinny?
Yeah, I just talked with Mike Kelly, the crew chief, up on the box. He said they've just been fighting tight all night. They had to free it up, so they did make that left side tire change. Also a round out of the left rear, trying to give Trevor something he can get turned, as you see Regan Smith going underneath the 6.
Yeah, and there was contact between the 6 and the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Brad got really loose, got up into the loose stuff the lap before.
Let's go back and show it to you one more time.
Yeah, this is after he had gotten loose. He came off of turn 2, and Trevor Bayne got into the left rear.
Hey, look at Regan Smith. He almost ran up behind the 6. Out front, Kyle Larson has about a 7/10 of a second lead over Kyle Busch in 2nd place. Brad Keselowski is 3rd. This is where all the action is, starting with Regan Smith in 5th and on back.
Well, you can see a stack up right there. That's what you see here at Bristol a lot of times.
First time we've really seen Brian Vickers in the shot. He was on the right side in that number 20. Dave, what's going on with that 7 car?
What a driver doesn't want to hear, see if you can ride it out. Regan Smith has reported in. I feel like there might be a tire going down. He checked with the crew. Did they get all the wheels tight? The crew gave a thumbs up all the way around, but right now he's in trouble.
Well, he's got a lot of fast cars bearing down on him, too.
Austin Dillon on the low side, now going to be able to slide up in front of that group. And here comes Ty Dillon trying the same maneuver.
Hey, there's not a points contending car that's really having a good night so far. They've all been struggling.
We mentioned Brian Vickers in that 20 car. He started this race in 9th, fell back to 11th. Now he's finally working his way into the battle here. He's running back in 9th.
Yeah, I talked to Vickers earlier after practice, and he was pretty excited about his car. in race trim. Thought that they would be able to maneuver and make passes and get his way to the front.
Now that's 77 of Parker Kligerman. He is 1 lap down. He's in the lucky dog position. He's in 14th. Drew Herring got the lucky dog on the second caution, as he did on the first. Casey Kane is in that 10th spot trying to get around him. Meanwhile, there is Drew Herring. Herring up to 12th right now. And there's Sam Hornish. He's running in 13th, last car on the lead lap. And look at this, the battle for the lead has tightened up. Kyle Larson in the 32, trying to hold off the 54 of Kyle Busch.
It's been some of what you talked about, Dale. These lap cars, some of them are high, some of them are low. But I think Kyle Larson's done a pretty good job of anticipating where they're going to be. But that's what tightened our lead up just a little bit.
Yeah, and that's difficult for a young driver to kind of know and be able to see far enough in advance what he's going to be able to do. Someone with the experience of a Kyle Busch, who's won so many times here, pretty good at anticipating that. It did close that up, but now we're really going to see how good this 54 car is. Can he make a pass on the bottom? Kyle Larson looks pretty strong up top, but lap traffic could play a factor in what happens.
That 79 car is Kyle Fowler. He is lap traffic, as is the 40 of Reed Sorensen. And look at this. Kyle's going to split the uprights, try and kick a field goal, and oh, that was close.
He just about paid the price right there, but it looks like he might get the lead back.
But now he's got the high side, and there he goes.
Yeah, he saw that opportunity right there as Kyle Larson went to the inside. Kyle Busch took a huge chance there. 40 car clipped him in the right rear, but it wasn't enough to take him out.
As you can see, we're working lap number 130 at 250. We've only had 2 cautions tonight. Kyle Busch has led the most laps, 107. And so far, don't forget to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch all the live race coverage from right here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 10 HD live race views, live chat, and a live leaderboard. Well, we have completed 139 of the scheduled 250 laps, and that man right there, Kyle Busch, is marching towards his 6th win in the Nationwide Series right now. He's led 117 of these laps so far, and since getting around Kyle Larson, he and Brad Keselowski now run 1-2. Kyle's lead is 1.3 seconds. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, and leading us off is Jamie Little.
And Austin Dillon running 6th right now. Before the race, he talked about last weekend, and he said a bad pit stop toward the end of the race cost him a top 10 finish. That cost them 3 positions in the points. He said we cannot make mistakes like that tonight. What you heard on the radio, they did make a mistake on the first pit stop, set him back 4 positions. They're keeping their eye on it. They've got to hit their marks tonight, Doc.
Well, Brian Victor started 9th, so the car was way too loose all the way through the corners. It came in, put 4 tires on, didn't help it. Last stop, 1.5 rounds left rear, made the car better. It's driving better. It doesn't have a lot of speed. Jamie.
Sam Hornish Jr. running 12th right now, the last car on the lead lap. We heard him saying he had some power issues. The team looked underneath the hood the last round of pit stops. They said it was a faulty spark plug wire, but they don't have time to change it. They said keep watching your gauges, keep turning the laps. You're doing all right. Dave?
Jamie, earlier we talked about Elliott Sadler's situation. Car was just nearly undrivable, no grip. They have improved it according to the crew. It's running better. He still needs some track position. As far as the 7 car of Regan Smith, he had to come down pit road. That tire that he thought perhaps was a tire ended up being a wheel. There was a broken wheel on the right front of the 7. You see the crack right there. Nothing the crew did, nothing the driver did, but it made it very much undrivable. He knew he had to pit. He finally came down, and they replaced 4 tires and that wheel. Marty.
And for Regan Smith, he has only 1 top 5 since his last win at Michigan back in June, and that was 4th. Back at Watkins Glen a couple of weeks ago, so another tough break there. Justin Allgaier, you saw on the points, he's trying to work his way back into the battle. Now he must be 39 points behind, still a long way to go and a lot of people in front of him, but he has a good race going tonight. He's running 4th, guys.
He's got a solid run going. Working through some lap cars right now.
He worked really hard to get around Trevor Bain, probably raced him for about 10 or 12 laps. Very patient, looked for the right opportunity, and was able to finally take that spot away.
It's Austin Dillon in the 3, trying to close the gap. The 87 is lap traffic of Joe Nemechek. Meanwhile, good battle going on here between the 5 of Casey Kane, the 2 of Brian Scott.
I saw Casey Kane early in the race that he was able to make some passes down the bottom. We were showing it, and it looked like that he might have a car that could move forward, but just haven't been able to see that after they made a couple of pit stops.
Brian Vickers goes to the high side in the 20 and looks like he is going to get around Kane. So Casey drops a spot, and it looks like he's even slowing more. The 01 of Mike Wallace is lap traffic. Vickers wants that high line, but he can't get the 01 out of the way. Whoa, and the 18 of Drew Herring. He had 2 lucky dogs tonight. He's not so lucky right now, as he is our first caution.
That was ridiculous.
Due to accident.
You okay, bud? Good, let me know.
That's kind of a weird angle. I don't know what happened. That's at the end of the back straightaway.
Here, just a little bit at a time, little bit at a time.
He was
He's right on down. Leader's going to come outside. Watch your pace car. There you go. All right, you can roll.
He was running 11th, 1 lap down. It would have been in the lucky dog position, but since he caused it, obviously he's got bigger issues to worry about. Don't know if he's going to make it back.
He's got a lot of stuff coming out of that car. Probably doesn't need to go very far anyway.
All right, let's go on board with Sam Horner, see what happens here.
The red car just up ahead. I don't know if he got clipped by, I can't tell which car that was, or whether he just spun in front of him.
Yeah, possibly Mike Bliss.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from that one. It's in progress. That's a hard lick, though.
So our 3rd caution of the evening, first due to a crash. And it was bad news for Drew Herring.
The lead was starting to tighten up. Brad Keselowski had started closing the gap on Kyle Busch right before that yellow.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if Kyle is maybe, you know, anticipating that's the 1 pit stop. These are the tires that he may have till the very end of the race. Was he saving something there? Or is the 22 that much going to be strong and big competition for Kyle?
Drew out of the car. He'll make the mandatory trip over to the infield care center to get checked out.
They have the pit road closed right now because that car is sitting on the apron, which is basically part of the pit road under caution. That apron in 3 and 4.
He's not too happy. Let's see who he's going to point the finger at. We may figure out who it is.
Yeah, I guess maybe he did get a little help.
And I'm pretty sure it's Mike Bliss in that 19. I could see it's a light blue car, and it's really the only one out there looking like that. No other place brings out the best or worst in you. Once you get out and you've been wrecked.
So while we are under our 3rd caution, why don't we take this moment to check in with the gang over at the Quicken Loans Pit Studio. Take it away.
Thank you, Marty. You know, coming into the night, we talked about the championship contenders being separated in the points by fewer than 20 points. Some good news and some bad news. The good news is everyone's having problems this evening. The bad news is, well, everyone's having problems, and it starts with Austin Dillon a little slow on this pit stop.
Yeah, just has a bad pit stop, gets out a little behind, and he gets really upset on the radio as they're talking to him as he's on the track, but he'll recover from it.
Then there was an issue for Elliott Sadler. Close quarters here in Bristol.
Very tight quarters and also very slow pit road, so Elliott had a tough time getting around Michael Annett there. Had to back the car up. Cost him a lot of time, and currently he's a lap down to 29.
Regan Smith on lap 131 came under green.
Yeah, actually had a broken wheel. Strange thing, but does happen here. All the loads of the Bristol, see it right there. Strange thing to happen, but it can happen. Put him way behind, 2 laps down.
Sam Hornish Jr. also out on the track right now. The first car 1 lap down in 11th. He has a faulty spark plug wire. So issues all around. We're just kind of waiting for maybe Brian Vickers to have an issue just to even it out a little bit. Make it fair. I know that's kind of mean, but you know, make it fair at least. But this is an opportunity for a guy like Vickers to capitalize on the mistakes made by other drivers.
Yeah, he is gaining points, and Austin Dillon is doing a good job coming back from that bad pit stop too. And you got to remember, you don't need a bunch of power here once they get rolling. So Sam Hornish may be okay.
I tell you what, talk about being okay. This caution flag really helps Sam Hornish. Hopefully they can come down, open the hood up in that number 12 car, replace that spark plug wire, and get back in the hunt and save this thing.
I'm looking at the same thing for Elliott Sadler, though. He's really struggled tonight, but he's only a lap down. There are going to be a lot of cautions between now and the checkered flag, so he has an opportunity to get back on that lead lap and get back in the mix.
Brad with the bold prediction that there would be a lot of caution laps.
I'm on it.
So Marty,
I am
he's definitely on it tonight.
Well, and the thing that we were talking about earlier, obviously, was who is going to reach up and try and grab this championship. And Austin Dillon running 5th. Right now, Brian Vickers running 9th, and they're the only 2 that are on the lead lap.
Yeah, just watching right there at the entrance pit road, you saw a little fake by the 2 leaders, but then you see Kyle Larson was the first one. He needed to make a pit stop. Vince?
Kyle Larson likes the car, but they're going to help him with the entry. He said it's just got to have a little bit more stable entry, so it's going to be a 4-tire change for the 32 of Kyle Larson. This will be their last stop, and they needed it because they were going to be about 15 laps shy. A tear-off for a fresh view for the 32. He's led 22 laps tonight. Let's see what he can do the rest of the way. Jamie?
And Austin Dillon said he's breaking loose on exit. That's the main complaint. He said, guys, give me a good stop here. I know you got it in you. As he gets the countdown, guys go over the wall. 4 tires was the initial call. We'll see if they stick with it. The car has been pretty good, been running top 10 all night long. They work on the left-hand side. Talk about pressure, and it's a good stop. Go back upstairs to Marty.
And again, not a bad decision when you realize there's only 10 cars on the lead lap. So he's got fresh tires, full tank of fuel. Here we go. Keith Olbermann is back on ESPN2. Don't miss Olbermann's take on the day's sports topics through a mix of perspective, commentary, interviews, contributors, panel discussions, and highlights. Olbermann premieres Monday at 11 p.m. on ESPN2. It's also live on Watch ESPN. All right, let's listen in on the 54 radio when they were contemplating whether or not to pit.
You think you can get back there from 4th or 5th? Not if I got to pass the 22. You're going to make this hard on me, aren't you? Yeah, 10-4.
Yeah, that's a tough decision, and that's why he has to ask that question, because the crew chief doesn't know just how hard Kyle's been running the car to keep the lead, and so he had to get that kind of input.
Kyle selects the high side again. Brad Keselowski alongside. Then it's Justin Allgaier, Casey Kane in row 2, Brian Scott, and Kyle Larson in row 3. We're back to green. Keselowski did all he could, just not able to clear him. Still trying. These 2 definitely the class of the field, though. Look at the gap they've opened up over Justin Allgaier. And look at this. We're going to go 4 wide. I don't think this is going to work. We're getting word that the 7 brushed the wall. Regan Smith's day has gone from bad to worse. And he is backsliding fast. And look out, the 51 of Jeremy Clements slides towards the wall. And now we got a log jam up front.
Brian Vickers is around. Right here on the front straightaway.
Vickers.
A lot of damage.
Heavy damage. Kligerman, heavy damage. So our 4th caution comes out, and this is going to be a big hit in the points for Brian Vickers. He was running 10th. The 77 was 14th, 1 lap down. Well, who was it that said the points were going to be shaken up tonight?
Yeah. And if I'm looking at this right, Elliott Sadler might have been a free pass here. Get back on the lead lap. They took a chance there and stayed out as those other cars that were a lap down pitted, and it worked out for Sadler with a quick caution. I really was looking at Brian Vickers being consistent and working his way, staying inside that top 10, that this was going to be another good points night for him. It wasn't going to be a winning night, but a good points night. All of that's gone away now.
Vickers had scored the most points in the last 6 races, 29 more than Sam Hornish, who totaled the 2nd place in that group. And remember, this was like, what, 6 races in a row where he had top 5 finishes. That streak is going to end.
I'm not sure, but this may have started right with Regan Smith. He got in the wall. And that kind of jams everybody up. See, you see this all the time at Bristol, how one incident can just stack up behind you.
And then there goes Jeremy Clements, but here's another angle. And there's Vickers already in the wall. So it all happened in front of the 7.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if they were related. It didn't look like they were.
And I think Vickers and that group were in front of all of this that was happening.
On board with Hornish.
I believe there's something on the racetrack. I saw too many cars sliding around. I believe that somebody was putting something down. We saw Jeremy Clements and another car up behind the 7 get sideways. And it could have been coming from that 7 car, but there was something on the racetrack.
Well, and you can see they're already putting some speedy dry down where Vickers' car ended up. Wait and see if they do check the race line. But good point, though, DJ, because there were a lot of cars sliding towards the wall. Oh, there you go.
Well,
oh boy, I tell you, that was could have been worse, but it's still a hard lick for Kligerman.
Sure was.
On both sides.
And Vickers was up in the area that doesn't have any grip.
So it looked like the 20 just ran out of some grip. And there's Casey Kane.
Yeah, I just have to believe that there's something on the racetrack there. Too many cars sliding around and
too many good cars.
Yeah, I mean, see Casey Kane get out of the groove, get in the wall right behind him. Vickers does the same thing.
On board with Casey.
I mean, that thing just took off.
Inside.
Somebody in front of him. I can't see the car number, but just in front of him.
Behind you, still in there.
Also,
big wreck behind you.
Okay, our last incident involved Drew Herring on our 3rd caution, and Dave Burns caught up with him.
Yeah, Marty, before all that melee, Drew Herring's good day went bad. What happened to you, Drew?
First off, I just want to say thanks to Jim and Monica Sexton and everyone at Z-Line Designs for coming on board and giving me this opportunity. 3rd race of the season, and I only get a few opportunities to run these races with everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing. I try to make the most of every opportunity, and we weren't where we needed to be in the beginning of the race, and we were just trying to stay out of trouble. I wasn't pushing any harder than I needed to push it, and I wasn't trying to put myself in a bad situation to put ourselves in a wreck, and unfortunately, it found us anyway. I don't know what the 19 was thinking. He just drove over us and wrecked us for no reason. He's a lap down. I'm running 11th. I don't really know what he was trying to accomplish, but anyway, we'll go from here. I just got to thank everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing again for this opportunity, and hopefully I get to do this some more because this definitely is not the way I want to end my season.
Drew was running 11th. The first car 1 lap down, waiting for that lucky dog. He was unlucky instead, Marty.
Thank you, David. And while you were talking, I was looking at how this is going to shake up the points. The gap right now between 1st and 5th, when we came in tonight, it was 18. The way they're running right now, 38 with Vickers in 5th.
Yeah, this is a place that we heard a lot of guys saying that they, the road courses and this one at Bristol are going to be critical races towards this championship.
Looks like Justin Allgaier is going to take the opportunity to come down pit road. He is running third right now. And remember, there will only be 10 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green.
Yeah, that's the good thing. If you didn't feel like that you were good enough and had what it took, and like he was sliding around a little bit on that last restart, now's the time to come adjust on it and see what you can do. Casey King right behind him.
And it looks like the 11 is going to finally take advantage as well, as Elliott has made it to pit road.
The difference will be these guys will go back up inside the top 10 when they go back out there. Elliott Sadler will have to start at the rear, but he will be back on the lead lap.
Jamie?
Well, you're watching Casey Kane on pit road right now. 4 tires stopped for him and the 31 of Justin Allgaier as well on pit road. He said they're leaps and bounds better than the last run, so they just wanted to get some fresh tires. They wanted to come last round, but they didn't. It was a good stop. Both drivers make their way back onto the track.
And Elliott Sadler's team continues their service. We'll reset it when we come back. That is Brian Vickers' crew getting some help from also the 54 crew as they are trying to get that car back together. Doc, what are you hearing down there?
Well, heavy damage to front end. You can see they got 14 people from 3 different crews working on the car. The big concern is they changed the radiator. They're putting a new radiator in right now. Going to try to bungee cord the radiator in. They got the splitter bars cut away, got the sheet metal cut away. The problem is they don't have a driver yet. He's still being checked out in the care center. Dave.
Doc standing by with Parker Kligerman in the infield care center. He's walked out under his own power. What happened to you, Parker?
We fell a lap down early. You know, Kyle was setting such a fast pace, and we're able to fight back and run just outside the top 10. Although a lap down, felt like we had a car that we could get back in the top 10 and just mind our time trying to get back in the lead lap. And the 5, the 7 went up and wrecked the lap before in the wall, and 3 and 4. And then for whatever reason, the 5 and the 20 had the same thing happen to them. It's like there was something on the racetrack, and my spotter was yelling, "Go low," and I went as low as I could, and the 20 clipped us right rear. Pretty hard hit. But thanks to Butler for seats, for their safe seats, and all my guys at Kyle Busch Motorsports for the safe race cars, and we'll get them next week.
Marty? And Kyle Busch, the boss, picks up right where he left off, guys, right out in front.
Interesting to see if 22 of Brad Keselowski can make a charge. I think he has a better car in the longer run situation, but as things start to ramp up, I'm not sure how long of green flag runs we'll have here to the end.
Well, you heard us right before we went down there talking about Elliott Sadler. He officially restarts 10th. Look out, car sliding towards the wall, and that's Hornish again. He was 27th, though, Elliott was, on the restart after making the pit stop. Let's go back and take a look at the 12. Hornish running 13th, one lap down.
Yeah, you're down on a cylinder. You're doing everything to try to get this car going and keep speed and the RPMs up. And so you can see he tries to jump in the gas early to get to the outside of this car, and the car just takes off, gets up into the loose stuff.
Inside here. After that 60, clear.
Jamie, give us an update on the 12.
Well, right before that caution came out, Sam Hornish Jr. was on the radio telling his crew, "I want this plug wire fixed. We need to fix it so I can get up here and race." And Greg Irwin, his crew chief, said, "Absolutely not. We'll go another lap down, and we cannot do that." So Sam's sitting back in the car right now, pretty frustrated.
Well, he's running in the 13th position, but he still has the points lead. And I think that's what Greg's point is. You go 2 laps down, now you're going to be back there about 20th. And that's 7 more points.
Yeah, I see both of them's point. I understand the crew chief's side, but from Sam Hornish from the seat, you're thinking you're going to probably get run over at some point in time by being down a cylinder there as these other cars have fresh tires and coming up through.
You see Ty Dillon holding off Casey Kane while all this is going on. Dave Burns is caught up with Brian Vickers.
And we've talked about whether or not there might have been something on the track. Brian, what did you experience out there?
I went down into turn 3, and the car just took off. 2 or 3 of the guys ahead of me did the same thing, and by the time I saw them slide up into the dirt and hit the wall, it was too late. I was already there and already committed. We're just running so high and so fast, and I just hate it for the Dollar General guys. We we had a good car tonight. We just need to get a little track position. I think we had the strategy to get there. Just got out from under me. Not sure what it was on the track.
Sorry your day's done early. Brian Vickers out at Bristol. Marty?
On the left side of your screen, you can see the battle continues between the 33 of Ty Dillon and the 5 of Casey King.
Some sparks flying out of that 5. He's driving it hard.
He's got those fresh tires trying to make his way back towards the front.
It's the battle for 8th on the track. Kyle Busch is still your race leader. Is closing on the 6 of Trevor Bayne, and you're right, the sparks are flying off the 5, Andy.
Yeah, I don't know if that may be some of his problem. This car's been bottoming out quite a bit, especially this run.
This three-way battle is about 4.5 seconds behind the race lead. Looks like it has settled down for the moment. There is the gap, what it looks like across the track to pick up the 54 of Kyle Busch. Looking for his 15th win in all 3 series here at Bristol. See if he gets it tonight. When the race starts tonight in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, looked like most of the guys were going to play nice for a while. The first 2 cautions were nothing major, but then the last 2, as you can see, it's Bristol, and we're starting to see a lot more fender banging as we're down to 49 laps to go as we welcome you back to the Food City 250 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Make sure that you go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. That is Trevor Bayne in the number 6. He is running in the 8th position, trying to hold off Casey Kane and Ty Dillon. This is one of the best battles that we have on the track right now. And we can tell you that Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, they're still running 1-2.
If they're a lot closer than what they were when we went to break.
Well, you guys mentioned that the 22 gets better on the long run.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch had to deal with a lot of lap cars, too. I'm not sure they know where they're going, much less him try to anticipate that, but he's done a nice job weaving in and out of them.
And that 16 is Ryan Reed. He's 27th, 4 laps down.
And I think Keselowski's car has kind of hit that happy place where his tires are coming in and his setup is really coming to him.
And again, remember, those 2 are battling it out for the Owners' Championship. The 22 led by 22 points coming into tonight. Shifting our coverage, that's the 3 of Austin Dillon alongside the 2 of Brian Scott with Kyle Larson, Justin Allgaier in the mix. Now that 24 car is lap traffic.
Yeah, that's a nice move finally by Austin Dillon there. He'd been working, trying to get around Brian Scott. Finally was able to make that move right there.
Good move by Larson not to get trapped.
Larson's car just not quite good enough. There's not many of them that can get down there and make a pass, but he really gets loose whenever he tries to go to the bottom and make a pass.
Here comes Allgaier underneath. These 3 duking it out for position.
Allgaier was able to come in that last time and get tires on his race car. Said he liked his car.
And remember, Allgaier pitted on lap 174. The others pitted on lap 159. Coming up on that 7 car, Regan Smith. He is multiple laps down right now, as he has shown 22nd, 3 laps down. He's just trying to nurse it to the finish line. Kyle Larson going down low. Can he make it work?
Need to put a slide job on, but not room right there.
And it's allowed the 6 of Trevor Bayne to close.
Uh-oh, look at Allgaier get sideways.
Yes. Oh, this is getting good. Contact between the 6 and the 2. They're still side by side.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne's found himself in position all night to be in a little bit of a contact situation.
Of course, Trevor considers Bristol his home track, lives over in Knoxville. Still side by side with Brian Scott.
Now look at that. That was definitely a slide job, Trevor Bayne.
Boy, and it's going to cost Brian a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, he body slammed him though going in the corner. I bet Scott's not happy with that. That's where those frustration levels get to a boiling point.
You've been out here over 200 laps now, and you've been battling. You've been in that position. Others take advantage of you. It's time for you to start taking advantage.
Well, our race leader is the 54 of Kyle Busch. And he is about to lap Elliott Sadler. Remember, Sadler had to restart in the 27th position. He's actually shown in 10th, but he may be going a lap down by the time we get back. Well, if you've enjoyed tonight's race, don't forget the Irwin Tools Night Race at Bristol is tomorrow, and our coverage begins at 7 Eastern over on ABC. And our next stop in the NASCAR Nationwide Series is Atlanta next Saturday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. We have 25 laps to go. Kyle Busch looking to extend his all-time win mark here in all 3 series. He won Wednesday night's truck race. Remember, in 2010, he's the only guy to sweep all 3 races in a weekend. He'll have his work cut out for him tomorrow, though. But right now, he is about a second ahead of that man right there, the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Brad was able to close things down a while ago as they came in on some traffic, but this last batch of traffic, Kyle has maneuvered through very well and has pulled back out almost a second ahead again.
To find third place, you've got to go a full 6 more seconds back in the field. Look for the number 3 of Austin Dillon. Now, Austin came into this race 4th in the points, but right now he's having the best night of all the top 5. He would cut the lead right now to 5 as it stands, as he's running 3rd.
He's managed to stay out of trouble and sitting there comfortably in the top 5. No pressure from behind.
4th place is the 31 of Justin Allgaier. Allgaier would move into the top 5 in points if everything stays the same right now. He would be 38 markers behind, bumping Vickers back to 6th. We can tell you Vickers is back out on track, but he is 56 laps down.
Allgaier getting a little pressure now from his teammate, Kyle Larson.
Larson running in that 5th position, of course, finished 2nd here back in the March race. And that number 6 of Trevor Bayne, he's been running in that 6th position pretty much all night long.
He and the 32 of Larson have been around each other pretty much most of the night. And this car hasn't handled great for Trevor. I talked to him earlier today, and he felt like the balance was going to be pretty good for this race car, but he's done a nice job.
A lot of lap traffic now, and they'll watch the 54. Let's see how he picks his way through.
Now, I keep thinking that this is going to close the lead up, but every time they encounter these nests of cars, it seems like Kyle comes out ahead.
Well, Landon Castle in the 4 got out of the way nicely.
It's like when Kyle gets by them, then they bunch back up, and they're making it tougher on Keselowski to get through them.
Coming up on the 29 of Kenny Wallace. First time we've been able to mention Kenny. Happy birthday. He turned 50 today.
Still a young man, isn't he, Marty?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you.
There's the 22, Brad Keselowski. He is 0.8 of a second behind the race lead, and his streak of stretching it to 5 in a row is in some serious jeopardy because we're down to 14 to go.
Yeah, he's not going to give up, though. You still see the back bumper of that 54 if he could ever get there.
I just watched him drive it off into turn 3 there. It's not from a lack of effort. Wow.
There's the view in front. He's cut it down a couple of tenths, and now he's got to deal with lap traffic.
You see, really working the steering wheel.
It's a valiant effort on flip. You'll be right there. I hear you, buddy.
Whoa, look out. The 40. Reed Sorensen got loose there. He has closed the gap, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Keselowski.
Oh, like but he just got up in almost into the wall right there. Sorry.
Yeah, he's just trying. I mean, he's trying everything he can to try to get to the back bumper of that 54.
Next time by, there'll be 10 laps to go. Kyle's lead 0.9 of a second, so that bobble cost him about 0.3. Nothing has changed in the running order in the top 9. That's how many cars are on the lead lap. It's just a matter now, does Kyle make a slip and allow the 22 to get back into this? I'll tell you what, say what you want to about Kyle Busch, they may have to start thinking about renaming this place. This could be win number 15 tonight across the board.
Well, I tell you, he's hard to beat here.
He's going to have a challenge, though, tomorrow because you guys were covering qualifying.
Yeah, he spun out. Actually got loose once and went back around and tried to make the second lap work and spun out and hit the wall. So he'll start dead last tomorrow night.
And the gap is now 1.4 seconds. So it looks like Kyle is on cruise mode as he has now got 6 laps to go.
It's like Brad Keselowski made one last charge and gave it all he had, and now he just feels like he doesn't have enough to get there. Only thing Kyle doesn't want to see is a caution.
4 of the last 10 races. Won by the driver who led the most laps. Guess who? Driver of the 54. And he's going to do it again here. He's led 223 and counting. As here are the Turner Scott teammates going after each other. That is Allgaier and Larson, 4th and 5th. Kyle's finally trying to make that bottom line work for him.
Yeah, he's kind of hoping that he could get up far enough beside there that he might trap his teammate in behind the lap car. Didn't work that time.
There is Kyle Busch going around the slower traffic.
Still half straight.
2 laps to go.
More smart.
It's Brian Scott running in 9th position. If he gets by him, there'll be only 8 cars on the lead lap. He has just run roughshod over this field. Final lap, the 54. This will be career win number 60, the all-time leader in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And he's going to pick up win number 6 here at Bristol. Brad Keselowski 2nd.
You guys were amazing in practice today. That's where it all comes.
Austin Dillon comes home 3rd. Allgaier and Larson.
Hold on, Kyle.
Much chatter on the radio. I guess after 15 times here, you get kind of used to it. Is that it?
Well, he expects to win.
Your mom is undefeated. Where is she?
Well, he's 2 for 2 for this weekend. It was 2010 when he pulled off the triple. He'll have another shot tomorrow night.
Here's his little Ty Dillon burnout. We saw Ty Dillon do that first. It's like Kyle's getting a little more practice with it, though.
his 60 wins, 11 more than 2nd place Mark Martin. And he just continues to roll on.
Yeah, we were talking about his challenge tomorrow night. If there were going to be somebody that you told me you're going to put in the rear and it could go win, I like my chances with him if anybody's able to do that. They've got a lot of work to do to repair that car, though.
It's his 9th win of the season. He's led the most laps in all 9 of those victories. And tonight, he led 228 of 250.
Just totally dominant.
He doesn't realize all the action he missed behind him. Well, we'll get a chance to talk to him as he refires the car and makes his way towards victory lane. Big shake-up in the points as well. We'll update you on that when we come back here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
Rowdy was rowdy tonight. In fact, he has been rowdy just about every time he's ever stepped foot on this place. I mean, the dominance here has been simply remarkable. He has won across the board in all 3 series. We mentioned 2010 where he swept the entire weekend. He's going to have another chance to do it tomorrow night. He won the truck race Wednesday. He wins the nationwide race tonight. And of course, the cup race is still to come. Here is the domination. Look at this. Most all-time here at Bristol in the Truck Series. 6 now most all-time in the Nationwide Series. And 4 in the last 9 races. And he's got a total of 5 in the Cup Series. Let's check in at Victory Lane. He should be used to this by now.
taking it all in. He has all the groceries, kiss from his wife, family's here. What a day, a long day for Kyle Busch. Kyle, you guys had a brake line issue in practice. You missed about 40 minutes. What is so dynamic about this team to dial in the race car despite those issues and dominate like you did?
Well, I mean, it comes from preparation. It comes from the shop, comes from practice here. Adam and I, we work real well together. We work hard. Those guys work hard, and they had to do it today, you know. Just a great car. Great job by these guys putting together such a great Monster Energy Camry. It was a lot of fun tonight. It's cool when you can start up front, lead laps like that, but yet you have some battles with holding off the 22 and then having to pass the 32, and you know, it's just a fun day. But Toyota Camry was awesome, so can't say enough about JGR Engines. Nationwide Insurance, the fans, whether you're cheering or booing, don't matter. We're here to win races, take trophies home, and that's what we're going to try to do tomorrow night too.
Usually when you're out there, you dominate, but tomorrow you have a big task at hand. You're starting last, and you saw what happened tonight. It didn't take you long to pass half the field. What are you up against tomorrow in order to get another win yet here?
It's a whole different ball game tomorrow, that's for sure. But you do have to have a car that runs good on the bottom. But man, a lot of people were running the top today in practice, and obviously we saw that qualifying. That's where you needed to be in qualifying. I overstepped it. I got too high. I was a little too loose. I just screwed up. So it's not like I haven't come from deep in the field before. It's going to be a tall order. You know, I've had pit road speeding penalties and gone to the back and come back and finished second in this spring. So we'll just see what tomorrow has. But you got to win 2 to go for 3. So here's 2.
All right, Kyle Busch holding the broom. He wants to bring it out tomorrow, Marty.
All right, we'll find out what happens tomorrow starting at 7 on ABC. Next week, the NASCAR Nationwide Series heads to the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. For tickets to that event and other upcoming races on the schedule, just go to NASCAR.com/tickets. Well, tonight was good. Maybe tomorrow will be even better. We'll find out. It is Irwin Tools night race at Bristol. It's 7 Eastern on ABC tomorrow night. For the Nationwide Series, well, it's Atlanta next Saturday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Let's check in with Dr. Jerry Punch with the man who finished second, Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski had a pretty good race car, but not quite good enough. Brad, where did you miss it there in trying to run down Kyle?
Yeah, it's hard to say. We just didn't quite have enough, like you said, Doc. You know, it's unfortunate we had 4 wins coming in here. We're trying to go for 5 in a row and tie with Dale Jr. and them guys, but we were close, just not quite good enough. But the discount tire Fords and the Penske Fords have been so strong lately. It's a pleasure to drive these cars, and dang, I just want that win. One more spot. I've been so close and really close yesterday. Just can't quite get it all to come together. Hopefully it will tomorrow with the Miller Lite Ford.
Brad K finishing second.
Well, the 22 still has the owner's points lead, but it's cut from 22 to 16 by the driver of that 54 car. And as far as the championship, well, it did shake up. Sam Hornish Jr., despite struggling with a spark plug wire and finishing 2 laps down in 12th, still has the points lead, guys.
Yeah, they did a good job. They were kind of debate whether to fix that plug wire or ride it out. They rode it out and still maintained the point lead.
And Elliott Sadler being just 11 points behind, that was amazing. They finished 10th. He better go get some lottery tickets tomorrow night, as good as his luck is right now to do that.
Do you think it's a 3-man race?
Yeah, I'm afraid so now. Regan Smith could make it back. A lot of racing to go.
Still got 10 more races to go. Let's check in with the man who's still atop the points lead. Dr. Jerry Punch is with Sam Hornish Jr.
It looked like it was going to be a long night for Sam Hornish. Sam, we heard about ignition problems, we heard about switches. What was going on with your Ford?
We had a spark plug wire come apart, and I haven't really got a chance to look at it yet, but it was something that we were going to have to roll down pit lane to be able to fix, and they weren't sure that they would be able to get it switched out in enough time to be able to keep us on where we're on the lap that we're at. So they made a good call and put me out there and just gave me the opportunity to try to hold my own and run with a bunch of guys on 8 cylinders with 7, and we could run real good through the middle of the corner. I feel like our Snap-on Ford Mustang was a top 5 car tonight if we'd have had all 8 cylinders, but for what it could have been, it turned out to be a pretty good night.
In spite of the problems, he brings it home 12th.
Austin Dillon comes home 3rd tonight. Another crazy Bristol night for you. How'd you get to 3rd?
I don't know. We struggled on pit road tonight, but I want to thank my guys that worked on the car during the day. They really had a rocket ship for us. It really turned the center well, and we can make ground. So just really proud of this Advocare Chevrolet and what we were able to accomplish tonight. I want to thank the good Lord above for being with us and all these fans out here at Bristol. So we'll go on, and that was a good points night for us, so we'll go on to Atlanta next week.
It was a good points night. He goes up 2 in the championship.
And is only 6 points behind now, as he's glad all the road courses are over. There's the trophy, and he's got a lot of those from Bristol. 15 in all for Kyle Busch. Well, as the crowd heads home after another thrilling nationwide race here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, we'll show you the top 10. As you can see, only 9 cars on the lead lap. And I remember you saying, DJ, if Elliott Sadler gets a top 10 out of this, count his lucky stars, and he did.
Yeah, they made it happen again. We've seen this team. They're pretty resilient, but they're going to have to get more prepared and better if they're going to try to battle for this championship.
Yeah, and Kyle Larson's the only other driver that led any laps tonight.
Well, and let's talk to Kyle Larson. How about it, Dave Burns?
Top 5 for Kyle Larson tonight. In fact, I believe that's his 4th in a short track this year, which is best among nationwide regulars. Kyle, in the spring, it seemed like you had such a better car, but your car really wasn't bad tonight. You led 22 laps. What was the issue at the end?
Just, I pitted there, and then they had that wreck, and they put Speedy dry, and, you just wouldn't, get off the track, and I just got up too high, and then lost 3 spots there, which hurt our track position a little bit. 5th isn't bad though. I don't know if we had anything for the 54 and the 22, but good day for the Cottonelle Chevy. I want to thank Nationwide Insurance, my Turner Scott Motorsports team, everybody that helps out on this car at the shop, and at the racetrack. So go to Atlanta next week and try and get a win there.
4th straight top 10 for Trevor Bayne. He brings it home 6th tonight. I know you fought a tight race car throughout the course of the evening, but how do you assess where you guys are going and which direction you're heading?
That was an all-out Bristol battle tonight. Most of the time at the beginning of the race, I was having to play defense out the back, which is not fun here. We talked about it before this, and at the end of the race, they actually gave me a really good race car. They got the track bar up and freed it up. We were just really tight here again. In the spring race, we were really tight and battled that, didn't have the results we wanted, so we came back with a plan. And Mike and these guys, I mean, the chassis shop, the body shop, they've been building this better stuff all year, and that's what it takes. You got to keep up here in the Nationwide Series. Every team's getting better and better, and I just feel like we're pulling the same direction as a team. Even on bad weekends, we'll call this a bad weekend, even though it's 6. I mean, we're running a lot stronger. I feel like since the Charlotte race this year, we've been a part of this Nationwide Insurance Series and showed guys that we could run up front.
Yeah, in front of his home fans, too. Trevor Bayne brings it home 6th tonight.
Thank you, Vince. How about final thoughts there, Andy Petrie?
Well, I expected to see Kyle Larson maybe challenge just a little bit more, but Kyle Busch is just so dominant at this racetrack.
Yeah, he really is. Justin Allgaier with a nice finish there. Richard Childress has to be really proud of his grandsons. They finished 3rd and 7th on one of the most difficult racetracks, and both are just young men that don't have a lot of experience here. So, but an entertaining race, and Kyle Busch is just too good for everybody here.
Let's foreshadow tomorrow. What do you both think about Kyle Busch's chances of repeating the triple?
I think it's going to be tough because he's starting in the back, but like Dale said, if anybody can do it, Kyle can. I think he will make his way to the front, and he may challenge for that win.
He's going to have enough cautions to get himself and use some track position because it's going to be a slam-bang affair tomorrow night.
Well, the celebration continues, but it won't last long because everybody's going to be back here for the Irwin Tools night race at Bristol. You'll see it starting at 7 Eastern on ABC. Coming up next, we've got Sports Center right here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Congratulations to our winner, Kyle Busch. And for our entire ESPN crew, thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us. Hope you enjoyed the race. I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.